Together, we will have a multi-generational conversation on topics that are considered taboo, risky, controversial, but most of all, thought-provoking. Welcome to Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. Together, we will have a multi-generational conversation on topics that are considered taboo, risky, controversial, but most of all, thought-provoking.
Because in Tennessee, in Memphis in particular, it's a lot of crime that's going on, right? It's a lot of crime that's going on, and most of them are teenagers, 12, 13, 14 years old, 15, 16. And when they do get caught, they go in for a few weeks and then they let back out. And the crime rate has went up, like it's off the chart. We are number one on the map for the dangerous city to stay in Memphis, Tennessee. And it's like, if they don't do nothing about it, it's gonna get worse than what it is. It's like they stealing cars. I think over 13,000 cars has been stolen, and they posted it on November 3rd. And these are teenagers that's doing it. It's not people that's in their 30s and 20s. These are 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-olds that's doing these crimes. It's just like the other day you had four juveniles that was 16, 15, 12 charged for murder. Like at some point, you know exactly what you're doing. I mean, you know, I'm gonna rob somebody today, or I'm gonna kill somebody. You know exactly what you're doing. So if they don't put a stop to it and lock them up and make them pay for the consequences, because you killing people, moms, dads, granddaughters, you killing innocent people for nothing, just to get a car, so you can go race in it, so you can go. They run into buildings and they just. I mean, and then like the FedEx truck. They approached the FedEx truck and got everything out the truck. The FedEx truck was on the interstate. They had people in front of the car, in front of the truck, and people in the back. And it's like 15, 16 teenagers that unload a 53-foot FedEx trailer. So
Where was the driver at?
He didn't get out.
He didn't get out.
Well, how did
they even stop at the truck stop in Memphis?
But how did they get into the truck?
They using bars. They using anything they can. They are. It's like
so he was stopped on the interstate.
It was traffic stopped on the interstate.
Yeah, ain't nothing back there but a little seal. You can pop that with your hand.
So it's like, I mean, at some point, they have to take accountability. You have to put these people, these kids, because it's out of control. To me, I feel like they saying, all right, Lil Ray, y'all can come with us because we're going to get right back out. So if they not putting these kids down, I mean, when I say put them down, I'm like locking them up. Let them go to jail and let them feel it, because they getting right back out and they not dealing with the consequences. So that's why I feel like they need to do something about it, because it have got out of hand, and it's like it's so bad that I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, right? And I don't even like going to the gas station, and the crimes, it don't even, at first, like, wow, long time ago, they used to do stuff at night. No, daytime, all throughout the day. Ain't no telling when it's going to happen. You just got to be on the lookout. And it shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't have to watch my back every 5 minutes trying to see somebody going to run up. Then they walking around with AKs. They walking around. They ain't these big guns they walking around in broad daylight. You can't even go to the car wash, without somebody walking up behind you trying to get your car. So I feel like they know exactly what they're doing, and they doing it because they know it's nothing going to happen, because they juvies, they can do what they want to do. They're going to get right back out. So at some point, you have to lock them up and let them deal with the consequences of their actions.
Because when you was talking, it made me think about the maturity of some of the things, right? Because you said, they steal in the cars and everything, and then they go do something. Like they steal in the car, not because they need to go to the grocery store or go make some money. They steal in the car to go do immature things. So we have to figure out a way to measure I feel like in certain places,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would even happen, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe that certain places should have a maturity level because it seems as if they're mature enough to understand and know
Well, so here's the
exactly what
thing.
it is that they're doing. Because, like, think about the level of information that we have now that they can read this and
Right, so
know
that was some
that
of
they can
that.
get out
So
if they
that
do
was
it.
going to be my question. Like you made reference. You said that like as far as who was stealing cars, you said
Mhm.
like 12-year-olds. So who taught the 12-year-olds how to steal the car?
Look right now. All I'm saying,
But so
internet,
Yeah,
social
they
media.
got this thing now, Discord, and you can
what's
get on that.
Discord?
Right. See, so it's a
Social.
bunch of kids that be
Mhm.
on. It's like a. It's like the our. It's
Initially,
almost. It's almost like the dark web,
but
sort of kind
technically,
of.
initially, an adult taught them how to do it before. I
No,
mean,
No,
no.
I mean because who it started somewhere because
You
they
can
didn't just
Google how to.
right. But I'm
I mean, you can look
saying
on
you didn't
YouTube how to steal a car now.
but the very first person to steal a car wasn't no kid. It was an adult, and so it just got passed down.
No, what
No.
I'm saying, what I'm saying, because I mean, like Memphis is different. Because
Here's
it
the
don't
thing.
have to be
But
like
we
in
didn't.
Memphis. We don't
Right,
have.
but here's the thing. We're not saying that they
Mhm.
should not. So the what I just heard. The problem is that why is Memphis letting them out like that?
Because
Why?
the law that they have.
Oh, so that sounds like your
yeah. So
like your
that's something that
legislature need to
yes,
change.
that's
Okay,
something that has to change. But until they change, it's
but to the point.
Mhm.
So yes, I agree that they absolutely should be incarcerated
Mhm.
for a period of time. So let's just go back to that same 12-year-old who stole a car,
Mhm.
and let's say that 12-year-old is driving the car because first and foremost, you're probably going to end up crashing something because you don't have enough driving experience
And most of the time,
to
that's what's
know
going on.
how to safely and adequately maneuver a car. So the likelihood of you hitting something or somebody is extremely great. So let's just say this 12-year-old steals this car and hits somebody and he murders them.
Manslaughter.
And so what they call vehicular manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say that this is just a hypothesis. Let's just say that in the state that he does this in, Tennessee, that carries a penalty of life in prison. So remember, I never said that I do not think that children should not be incarcerated when they do something wrong. My issue is not incarceration. My issue is incarcerating and throwing away the key and just leaving them there. Like you just decided that they are
There's
no
no more hope.
good. They ain't gonna never be no good. Let's just get rid of them. Let's just throw them away.
So
I got an issue with that.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So my question to you is: so how many times can they get in trouble before they just like learn they lesson? Because some of them just do it. They just come, they get out, redo it.
Well,
So
but remember what you said. You
Mhm.
said that they might go in there for what, maybe 4 or 5 months or what
Yeah.
have you. Well, no, well, according to what Brandon said earlier, your prison system is not designed to rehabilitate.
that person.
So there is not going to be no correction. There's no correction that's happening. You can't even correct in 4 to 5 months.
right.
Nothing. You can't. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
so
I thought of John Morant at that moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At that moment, John Morant, he had gotten in trouble with his organization because of a gun incident, and
Mhm.
just so happened he's playing basketball for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Memphis Grizzlies.
But it's just it's something in the air. And I promise you,
Memphis.
that place, the Memphis need a prayer, like a deep prayer. God.
but
yeah.
So again, you have a prison system that is not designed to rehabilitate. So my team lead, he always asks me, do you believe prison rehabilitates people? I don't know why you continue to ask me that question because I keep giving him the same answer, but absolutely not. I do not believe that prison rehabilitates people. That's not what prison in the United States was designed to do. Number one, and number two, rehabilitation don't come from the prison itself. Rehabilitation comes from the individual. You, the individual, have to decide how you want to keep conducting yourself out here in this world.
And you can't, and a lot of times you can't get to that thought with a chaotic environment around you.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, the whole cycle of it is messed up. So again, that we're gonna stick with the 12-year-old who sold a car and hit somebody, what have you. So if Memphis has laws in place, right, that kind of like put them at a disadvantage in terms of uh
just being able to control certain things.
Reprimand these children, because let's say the law says if you're under the age of 16 you can only get x amount of time, yada yada yada. Well, if you created that law, let's say you created that law 50 years ago, you cannot still use a law that you created 50 years ago today.
Right.
That is a law that is already a full generation old. So, and nobody never said they change laws on the books all the time.
Because they're changing it based on the times.
Right. So common sense would say, oh, but look, my bad. My apologies, everybody, because everybody know common sense ain't common. But anywho, common sense would say that if you have that many youth in your city just running amok, because they know, hey, I'm gonna do a short 3 months and I'm be out. I can do 3 months. You had, number one, have not created a deterrent, and you realistically speaking, you can't expect them to change their lives, decide to do better after 3 months. Nobody does that. It takes a level of maturity to be like, oh, you know what, I'm not about this life. I'm gonna get myself together, right? Because I'm not trying to come back in here. But you literally have to mature to that point, because also back to Memphis, right? Something, matter of fact, we talked about a few episodes before. If your environment is such that all you see is brokenness, right? That you don't see there's no positive role models. You don't see nobody doing good for themselves. Everybody around you is struggling. Your world is struggle, and that's how you move in struggle. And so, because that the environment that they in is like that, so some people will argue and say, well, there's been many people who done picked themselves up by the bootstraps, and did better and this, that, and other. So, okay, guess what? They got numbers for that. You can actually go out there and look at the percentages of people who have done well despite their circumstances, and then those who have fell victim or prey or what have you to their circumstances. Understand, what people I think are forgetting is that time is continuously moving and things are continuously changing, and the mindset of a people 50 years ago cannot be the mindset of people right now.
Right.
And so You want to you're watching your youth get get worse and worse and worse. You're watching your children go into these schools and shoot up schools. You're watching your children go and shoot up supermarkets and movie theaters and so on and so forth. And all you want to do is give them life in prison and just throw them away. But ain't nobody thought about, well, how did they get this way? Listen. At the end of the day, being a parent is a monumental job, and it is not made for the weak. You cannot be a weak individual and parent, especially today. You literally got to be built for this. I often say to my own kids, I wouldn't trade places with y'all to be raising some kids right now for nothing in the world. You couldn't pay me enough to parent to raise no children right now, because of all the things that our children have to contend with. But at the end of the day, bottom line, if you decided to have your children, you have a responsibility to those children, because they can't raise themselves.
I honestly believe that every generation matures faster than the previous one because of certain things that they're exposed to.
But are they actually maturing? Because the Bible says, right, that the children would get wiser and weaker.
Well, I tell you, so
that's what the words say.
Well, if that's the case, right? If they're getting wiser and weaker, okay, they're getting weaker at making the right decision. They know. I really, honestly, like, I'm starting to sit back. I'm like, man, I really do feel as if they know what they're talking about or know what they're doing, because
they do.
But it depends on your understanding of wiser, because all of our children are tech savvy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so
but that really doesn't make you wiser. That actually makes you knowledgeable.
I learned a whole lot of stuff and was able to make certain decisions because of what I knew versus what somebody else had told me, right?
Which you knew or which you had seen and experienced?
No, just what I knew. Like,
how did you know it?
The same way anybody else would know anything. If I go to school for something, then I would know it.
Well, you know what you know based on what you've seen and what you experienced.
Yeah, so like I did a lot of self teaching. You know what I'm saying? Back when I was younger, like I was very I loved information, and but so like I just, when I sit back and think about it, it's like the more something gets exposed to something, it evolves. And that can be the same for behavior. So where we tend to, my generation tends to, we got in trouble in our 20s, and by the time we was 30, we was almost done doing that. Now the kids are getting in trouble sooner than that, but it was only because of what they knew at the time. And it's not necessary, because then if you don't have access. Okay, let's go for the cars, right? Okay. Back in the day, cars. Let's go to cars, right? So that particular crime really wasn't popping like that, because who going out there to race a car that don't even go fast? There was no demons and Hellcats and Scat Packs back then. That wasn't fancy.
I don't know what they was doing in Jersey, but you remember Jersey they were still
cars, but it's not like. But that was because you had a certain amount of people with wealth that had expensive cars. But these cars are cheaper and still can. Yeah, but see, I'm like a Honda. You can chop it up, take the VIN numbers off, do all the other stuff. Don't ask me how I know. I don't know. But it's like we have access to so many different things, and the more we get introduced to different technologies and learning how to do certain things, people want to push the envelope for some reason. And a lot of bad acts have also contributed to innovation in a way, in a sense. So I don't know, man. Like it might be all for a reason. Like even us having this conversation could be leading to something that somebody might watch this and have an innovative mind and say, "I fixed the solution." Like it might sound strange, but maybe some of the ones that's like really like can't get killing off their mind. Well, put them in the CIA or something. Make them a Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to kill so bad, okay. When we go to war, this is what I'm gonna train you to do. I'm gonna teach you the discipline and all this, that, and the third, so you'll be allowed to explore that inner part of you that wants rage. You know what I'm saying? No, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be a good idea. We have a vicious military. I don't know. Like, I don't want to give incentive to crime because you know what I mean. But it's like, okay, if you got somebody that's, if they're more prone to killing something because mentally they feel like that's really what makes them feel good. Maybe they should train something.
Listen to what you're saying. Do you not, regardless of whether or not that's what they feel prone to do and what have you, should there not be cause for concern when you have a generation coming up that has reckless disregard for human life?
They just starting earlier than what we did. A whole lot earlier.
I disagree. I do not feel generations prior to the upcoming generations had a reckless disregard for human life. When people got into disputes generations ago, they would fist fight.
That's because they didn't have access. We have access, so that's
But no, people would fight and then they go on about their business.
Right.
People with everybody. So murder ain't a new thing. People have always murdered, right? But when you have children who do not value life, that's a problem.
But it's only because they have more access to these things to take a life.
Yeah, but regardless of whether
they ain't thinking right.
You could be you could have access to have access to a bomb. That don't necessarily mean you got to use it.
But the chances of you using it are high.
But you know why you don't use the bomb even though you got access to it? Because you value human life. So the problem is,
think about Thanos, right? Let's think about.
You are not.
No, think about the premise.
With Marvels.
Look, think about the premise of that. He loved life so much he was willing to take away a certain amount of people just to have a perfect life. Like he really thought
but he wasn't God, so that was his decision.
But that's the same thing with the kids. They know.
Well,
God.
That's right. They don't.
You know what I mean?
But they don't know that. But then on top of that, you don't even have grown-ups who are willing to tell them that.
But see, their disposition of life or whatever it is telling them something completely different. Their outlook on life is completely different from ours.
Yeah. Your life is not valuable. Your life is not important. If you piss me off, I'm gonna take you out.
Because if they feel like their life is more valuable than
the
anybody else's.
And how is that good? I don't even want you fighting no war for me with that type of mentality. Because that means, right, that you have zero problem with killing children.
Never mind. I was
I'm saying, the same, just like how my grandson, he was talking about he was going to the army, and I asked him, I said, "Are you prepared to kill somebody?" See, with the recruiter neglected to tell him, right, that should we go to war, you are going to kill somebody. So now, because of technology, there's no more hand-to-hand combat. So, you can launch drones and what have you. But at some point, you got to walk through the area in which you just cleaned up and just took out human life. So are you prepared to see body parts scattered all over the place? Are you prepared to see little tiny body parts scattered all over?
Majority of people aren't, but
right.
But then when it happens,
right? But So you have to look. That's why so many men and women, but mostly men, came back from Vietnam jacked up
PTSD.
because of the things that they saw. And so it went. So there is, you have an inner, everybody is supposed to have, and everybody does, but now you can squelch it and just kill it and never give it the life that it's supposed to have. But everybody has an inner man, right? That has an innate empathy for his fellow man. But you can squelch it. You can push it down so far that it'll never get a chance to come out. But it is man's human nature to want to aid when they see somebody suffering. I I it would be cause for concern for the person who could see somebody laying in the street bleeding and you just step over them and keep it moving. There's cause for concern.
You know what's gonna happen?
Person
they're gonna get their phone out and start recording that person bleeding.
I hope not. But again,
they do it all the time.
But with that being said, you are still the same person. You might as well just kept walking, because that's what you
like. Think about all the police that you don't help that get recorded instead of somebody going to go help that person.
So
now,
again,
all the people that died,
you're making my argument.
They just be like,
you are making my argument.
And we watch all these folks die on camera.
Right. So you are making my argument.
But I can't say that the person holding that camera doesn't have some kind of sense of life. They probably scared that if they intervene, they're gonna die too.
Well, no, so the person is just laying there. I didn't say there was no assailant nowhere.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying it's the same thing as if I see somebody laying there on the ground and I walk over, it's the same as me seeing somebody getting a life taken away from them by somebody who's supposed to be protecting them, and I'm just pulling out my phone and I'm just recording.
So now you're being a little more specific in terms of, it's the police officer, this and another.
Okay, no. Well, even if it wasn't a police officer, let's just say if it was just two people.
Two people. One is laying in the street. They just got shot. You don't even know where the person is at that shot them. They long
and
gone.
And it's still gonna be somebody. Hey man, dog, he just got shot.
And so to my point, that we are birthing a society of people who can do just that. I'm either going to video you dying or I'm going to walk over you and keep going. And that is a sad, sad state of affairs. And the fact that you got a society that can do that, that's the exact same society that is willing to throw away its children.
The ones that's willing to throw away their children.
And so,
that's
no, because you know why? You know why? Because the reason why they're not different, at the end of the day, let's be realistic. The ones that are getting life in prison are people of color.
Mm-hmm.
So and the ones that are getting life in prison who are for murder, they killing people that look just like them. And so if they keep going, you will lose a whole generation of people. Because if a significant number of Gen Zs in the United States are dead or incarcerated, who fathers the generation Alpha and the generation beyond that? Because they are locked up. You done gave all them life.
I don't know. Like that's a little different for me. Like, I mean,
different for you?
Yeah, I mean, because like, I don't like, it's so many different variables that for that particular thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. Sometimes I do understand people just wanting to be for themselves. You know what I mean? Because they trying to either heal themselves or they trying to, whatever the case may be, but the people that's actually causing the conditions aren't the same society as the ones who's getting locked up. They're not the same ones, because that law that was created probably 50 years ago,
Mhm.
was created by somebody who grew up and didn't implement that law until he was about 45. So really, so almost that law is almost came from a 90-year-old mind. You get what I'm saying? Like they was taught something 90 years ago, and then they implemented it when they turned 45 and 50 years from now, and it's affecting us. So that 90-year gap of information of who a specific people are and why we're being targeted, that's the society who was, making it like it is now as far as the prison system and how is it working and for particular people and not for anybody.
Well, I mean, now, I
But
mean, we could just simplify it. I mean, bottom line is the 1%, but I mean, at the helm of it all, it's the 1%, and uh, just knowing that it is the 1% that orchestrates everything, right, is a major piece of the plot. But here's the thing: if I tell you that it's only 1% of a people who are exercising all levels of control, that means that there is 99% that are not. Last time I checked, 99 was way bigger than one. But the problem is that the 1% know how to disperse the 99 and keep the 99 from coming together.
yeah, the influence.
So, but hence the reason for this platform and for the conversations that we have. Oh, we don't ignore the fact that there is a 1% that's in the background orchestrating it all. But at the same token, right, we have been convinced and played and brainwashed and conditioned, all the words I come up with for hundreds and hundreds of years, to the point that we have adopted certain things and we done made it our own. We this conversation, we're talking about our children and what have you, and what our children are doing and what have you. And our children look like they out of control. And so because we feel like our children are out of control, and some of us as parents, we don't, what can I do? They gonna do what they want to do and what have you. So hence there's no accountability for nobody. And so the children continue to run amok. And again, the 1% has built prisons for them. And 1% already know, oh yeah, you're gonna kill each other, and to save face, we're gonna lock you up. Because before we really didn't created like the black codes and Jim Crow laws and so on and so forth. Yeah, we don't even have to do that now. We kind of tweaked the Jim Crow laws and what have you, and other little systemic things, and now they just sit back and they just watch.
It's almost like a lose-to-lose situation, right? A lose-lose situation.
I don't. Like, the reason why I don't think that is a lose-lose situation, because remember I said it's only 1% of them, but it's 99.
Right, but if you got that 1% that's more powerful than the 99 mentally, then there's nothing really that you can do.
Do we think that they're more powerful mentally?
Like right now they are. Like think about it. If they can control exactly what we do, if they can say, "Hey, we're going to raise this to a certain price," that what is that going to? Let's just say, just the cost of living in general. We raise the cost of living, so we want every parent to not be able to not be around their kids a little bit more. We need them out of the house a little bit more. If that parent is trying to be a responsible parent, they're going to work harder. Because they push that work harder, pull yourself up by the bootstrap, blah, 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 all that, right? So that responsible parent is going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to work 2 jobs. I got one. It wasn't enough. I need to work 2. So I'm working in the morning. My kids are going to school. Okay. Then in the afternoon, I'm working. I got somebody to come over to watch the kids when they get out. That person that I got to watch the kid is probably a kid themselves.
Mhm.
Okay. When I take them to daycare, they're only just learning a certain amount of things. So it's not like, they're getting the, oh yeah, well, I love you. No, they're getting the do this, do that, the general meal type
Right.
of ordeal, just like school. So they're not getting corrected in school like they should. They're not going to get corrected like they should at daycare. So now you got the parents outside of the house. So now the kids have free reign to pretty much do anything. Where do you have time with the way things are now to be able to say, you know what, I can control this and I can control that.
I would say you don't buy into work harder.
What
You buy
you
into
to work smarter,
smarter.
but everybody can't work smarter.
Oh,
So
everybody can work smarter.
it's not if everybody, like I used to say this all the time because people used to say, well, anybody could be a business owner, everybody could do this, that, and third. Okay, well, if everybody be a business owner, who's gonna be the janitor?
Right.
Who's gonna
the ones who don't want to be a business owner would be the ones who would be the janitor.
But that's what I'm saying. So now we're just fitting it into making it convenient. So we can't say certain things
who is it being?
But that's being convenient to the conversation. Like we have to, we got to really just say it exactly how it is. If we can't say that, oh, well, everybody can go out there and be something, and then everything else can ain't gonna be it.
So,
but then
wait,
with the stuff
so
that
you
ain't
said
gonna
somebody
be it,
could be. You said so. Who's gonna be the janitor?
Yeah, who's
the
gonna be
person who owned the janitorial business is a janitor. I'm saying. So here's understand this. The primary reason why the 1% gets away with what they get away with is the conditioning of people here in the United States. We have been conditioned to think small. We have been conditioned to move small. We have been conditioned to acknowledge and accept our limitations. We have been conditioned, right, that, oh, you can't fight this power and you can't fight that power. Look, when the IRS tell you that you owe some taxes, what you do? You go ahead and you pay them taxes. The IRS makes mistakes. Ask me how I know, because I done fought it. But most people will not fight the IRS because it's the IRS. They make mistakes too. So if you know that you paid X amount of dollars and you got all your paperwork in line, why would you accept the fact that the IRS said that you owe taxes? Same thing with the Social Security Administration. The same thing like with Social Security disability is trying to do to people right now. And because it's the Social Security disability people, they look, a whole bunch of people getting ready to get done. You better fight. Stop. So we keep allowing them to do certain things because we are conditioned to believe that we don't have the power to do anything. When you say the 1%, if you truly put that into perspective, the 1% is the ones that have all the money and the power. But the 1%, in order for them to stay the 1% and do what they do, they had to convince the 99 that they were that much strong, that they were that strong. And the 99 fell for it. And it's the 99 that keep them in power. Well, it's the 99 that keep them rich.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, the 99 keeps them rich, but also that 1% has to be tight knit because that 1% can break up, and it can be less than that. You know what I mean? But they're tight knit. But see, they're tight knit, and they own so many avenues of everything that we do through daily life.
I
down to the lights, the water.
Remember Steve Harvey said this. He was talking about it was in 2020, and Steve Harvey was saying how he was talking to a bunch of CEOs. And it was during the time when they were talking about when they were talking about raising taxes, but the taxes really wasn't going to impact them because they got the money to pay the taxes. The taxes is going to impact the little people. He said these CEOs did not support certain laws that they were trying to pass because the laws impacted the people that were lower than them because they needed them. Because you understand that if if you jack up the 99%, your one means nothing because you are building what you have on top of the 99.
All we would have to do literally is just stop.
Just stop what?
Just stop.
Stop what?
Like
Stop living? Like
no,
stop
no.
what?
I mean, there's no way to actually stop living unless you
No,
just
I mean,
take your
I mean,
life.
I
Like,
use that.
we just stop playing the game. Just completely stop. I'm not paying this tomorrow. I'm not paying that.
Well, you have to do it collectively.
That's what I'm
Problem is
saying.
that
That's
you
why I say
can't
all
get-
of us, all of us has to do it.
You can't get all of us to do it. Look, if you could get the 99 to get on one accord, it'd be over for the 1%.
It's getting it's rolling a little bit, but not 99. It's probably like 5 right now.
What, 5%?
It's really probably like 5 right now.
Fight
And it
the
just
1%.
but it need to be like, it need to be like wildfire. It need to spread and it needs to do it quick because for me, I just feel like it's a collapse coming and it's not good. Like I don't see where we're not fighting the government. Like I don't see how, what like lawly, like I mean, I said lawly, like legally, like because like, I'm starting to see more and more people post saying that they're suing the United States for such and such, and it's mainly for conditions that they've put us in, and they're blaming pharmaceutical companies and things of that and whatever, and like I'm starting to see that a whole lot more. So people are waking up to
It's just
to what's going on.
it's a slow process, and that's why platforms like ours are so important because it's up to us to bring awareness um, to each other. So you take this topic specifically, at a person who is the victim of of crime by a 14-year-old. You say that 14-year-old took the life of your loved one and what have you. And so your pain will allow you to see nothing else. Your pain wants justice. Your pain, wants to see that person who took the life of your loved one, to suffer and so on and so forth. Again, what people it's interesting to me, people home in on certain words. Again, never said that juveniles should not be punished, that they should
It's
not
just the
go
way.
they should not go to prison, and do some time. What I am saying is that, like, look, my cousin Early said it best. If you get a 14-year-old and they take a life, and you determine, depending on what state you're in, you determine that it was uh, malice murder, first degree murder, whatever your state calls it, and it comes with a penalty of life in prison. So when they write the law, they don't say if you this age, then it's this, and if you that age is this. It says malice murder and the definition of malice murder, and then it gives the penalty for a conviction on that specific crime, and they don't take into consideration your age. So it's like, for example, in the state of Georgia, if you are 14 and you get convicted, first of all, you're 14 years old, Georgia has a law that allows them to charge a 14-year-old as an adult. Okay, well, now I got a problem with that because that same 14-year-old, he not old enough to even vote. he can't get out here and take care of himself. He can't do nothing. If he don't go to school, you sit in the truant van looking for him. So he's supposed to be in school. There's a you have certain laws that regulate what that 14-year-old is doing, as because he is a child, he's a juvenile, he's not, quote unquote legal adult. However, the minute that he take a life, you now want to charge him like an adult. You have these particular laws in place because you said that he is not mentally mature enough, right, to make various decisions. You're not going to allow a 14-year-old to vote for a president. They don't know nothing about the presidency. They don't know nothing.
But you can charge him as an adult.
Right. So he can't do that, or she can't do that, but you can charge him as an adult. So there's a disparity right there. There's a disparity right there. Okay, so now you charge them as adult, they get convicted, and because your law is not broken down into age, this is the law, this is the penalty. So now you end up they get convicted, you charge, and they are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole at 14. He's only been on the planet 14 years. What has happened in the span of those 14 years?
A pandemic
that caused that child to have a reckless disregard for human life. There is a movie, I can't think of the name of the movie, but it takes place in Compton, and it's 3 boys. They teenagers. They all 3 of them are 16 years old. One was kidnapped when he was like 6, and some doggone kind of way he ends up getting raised by his kidnapper, but his kidnapper got a whole family someplace else. His kidnapper has him living in a house, and he consistently does things to him. Then another kid, he's young, he sees his father get gunned down by the police in front of him. Then the other kid, he saw his father got jealous. Some man said something to his wife, but it wasn't bad. But the dude, he was, and he beat him to death and killed him in front of his son and what have you. So you got these 3 boys. This is their world. They also play video games all day long. And at some point, these 3 boys can't differentiate, for whatever reason, between reality and the video game. So what is it? It was a Grand Theft Auto they playing. So their life, their world is they move in their real world as if they are playing the game Grand Theft Auto. And so they go and steal this this Cadillac Escalade truck from these two Hispanic dudes, right? They they did something to them, right? But they got the jump on the 2 Hispanic dudes and took their truck. I'm like, what the devil? They getting high. They're doing a lot of stuff as if they were in the game, because what in the movie it flashes back and forth to, like they playing the game, what they would do in the game. Then they do it in real life. So the one boy, he's smart. He is borderline genius. But this is the boy that saw his father get murdered in front of him by the police. He walks around all day with a cape because I don't know why. But he thinks he's a superhero. Long story short, one ends up in prison, one is murdered, and the other one, I really don't understand what happened to him. But bottom line, the movie didn't end well. But what I got out of the movie was that here are these 3 16-year-old boys from different, walks of life and what have you. All 3 have had a tragic thing happen in their life. None of them got counseling. None of them, no one addressed what they saw. No one addressed what they experienced, how it impacted them, and so on and so forth. These boys are just, just moving through life, which tends to happen a lot in our Black and brown communities. There's a stigma. There's a stigma. You don't nobody get no counseling. Mm-hmm. Nobody go see no therapist. So, but at the same time, nobody is addressing the things that these children have seen. So you force them to make it make sense in their own head, but they don't have enough to make it make logical sense. They make it make sense for them, but it's not making logical sense. So now they out here doing all this stuff because, again, they playing games like Grand Theft Auto, and I've never played the game, but I know it's a very violent game. Mm-hmm. And there's another game that they play where some type of war game, but so they're always killing each other.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty.
But then you can hit the reset button and everybody get back up and we can start all over again. And so because this is what you're doing, the lines of reality and the game world, they start to get skewed. They start to merge. And while they're merging and that's happening in their heads, right, the adults around them are not paying attention to this happening. And they don't know anything until these two worlds in their head collide and they done did something. Then you want to throw them away. Hmm. And no, I'm not suggesting that that's every single kid, but there are similar things happening. Our babies are not being born, and by the time they get 4 or 5, they ready to kill somebody. Oh, and then we're gonna end on this. There's a guy that I follow on YouTube. His name is Stock Market Steve. Hi, Stock Market Steve. He's supposed to be in Charlotte this weekend, but I like him because his people, his followers, they send him all levels of videos from everywhere. So he gets a video from somebody, and it's these men in the video, and it's a birthday party for one of the little kids. So you got one kid here, I think he's standing on the table. And then this one, he's tall enough to just stand on his own. Then it's another man, another kid being held up by, I'm assuming that's his father. And it's like 3 or 4 men right here, right? And they playing some music I ain't never heard of before. There's a gun on the table. This one picks up the gun. They got money. When I tell you, I'm like, I need somebody to call DSS. But these kids, they little. They all like this. The one, so when this one puts down the gun, the other one over here, because he's smart, he can't hardly have pick. But this is a real. So now it's a real gun because he can't have hardly pick it up. But I guess the mothers, they're the ones that there's video, so they there, but they on the other side. They're not in the camera. And these is 3 black male children, and there's 4 or 5 grown men in this video. Excuse me. And this is what you are glorifying for your children. You basically, you might as well just went ahead and signed a death warrant. Because if that's what you are feeding your babies at that age, do we seriously expect them to be anything greater? You are literally saying the boy, the one that's he got the money and he like this. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it was crazy, but he's imitating what he sees. And I'm like, oh my God.
And nobody's telling him that.
No.
It's not what you're
and I was just like, oh my God. And they was all to the good with it. They didn't say nothing wrong. I was like, oh man. And it will be those same ones that, should those babies end up getting killed, they're gonna be wanting to go take somebody out. but you put them in the line of fire. You literally put them in the line of fire.
Mhm.
So Tree, I thank you. I said, look, I totally get your feeling. Like I said, it is human nature that when we lose someone at the hands of somebody else, that we want justice. You know, we want some type of accountability. And so, yes, absolutely. I think that there absolutely should be some level of justice and there should absolutely be some level of accountability. And yes, let me say, I'm not opposed to life without the possibility of parole for grown people. Let me go ahead and say that. Look, because if you 30 years old out here, right, and you some type of serial killer, they need to throw you behind up underneath the jail. I am opposed to the death penalty too. So yeah, you don't get the luxury of dying. You need to sit in jail and fall apart. But so yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely not saying nobody should not get life without the possibility of parole, because there are some excellent candidates, just not our children. If our children are truly supposed to be our future, we need to be working really, really hard to make sure that we got a future. We can't just be throwing our children away. Even the worst of the worst of the worst. Look, they didn't get like that by accident. Something happened. Some of them, they were groomed to be that way. Some of them don't have parents in the household to even teach them boundaries.
No, they got parents. They just parents is their friend.
No, but some of them have parents. Some of them don't. And you're right. Some of them that do have parents, they're not parenting. So there's so many variables, and because there are so many variables, all the more so why I feel like it's not fair to give them life in prison without the possibility of parole. I don't expect to change anybody's mind who will end up watching this video, because I know that I didn't change Tree's mind, but it's healthy to have this dialogue, because you never know when it's you. Either you're fighting for the life of someone who who's going to be convicted, or or just got convicted or whatever, or you the person on the other side who just lost somebody, and you want justice. So please understand, we get it. I definitely get it, and I never want anybody to think that your loss doesn't matter. Your loss absolutely matters. And yes, somebody does need to pay for what they did. What I was going to say earlier, and I kind of like got sidetracked. My cousin early has said that if you're going to give a 14-year-old life without the possibility of parole, why not just simply execute him? What you keep him alive for? Because you basically said you ain't no more good. You ain't gonna, no more good. You ain't gonna do nothing better in your life. You ain't gonna add nothing to society. So we're just gonna give you life without the possibility of parole, and you just gonna stay in there until you die. They're 14 years old. Why not just go ahead and execute them? You know why? Because what the United States is not going to do is start killing kids. They ain't gonna do that. Not like that. They'll find other ways to kill the kids. Sorry, they gonna find. Oh, that's not funny, but no, they will find other ways. But they're not going to use their quote unquote justice system to murder children. You look. Could you imagine? Could you imagine the uproar? You giving lethal injection to kids? What society is that? What are we doing? So, but my husband, that's he was saying that that's the equivalent. If I mean, because if you saying without parole, they ain't getting out.
Right.
So what you holding on to them for? Why are they holding on to them?
Money.
For cheap labor.
Mm-hmm. Cheap labor.
Sorry.
Extremely cheap.
Sorry. They just made them a different kind of slave. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Legal slaves.
Yeah. Legal slaves. Yeah, I like that better. Well, family, again, I this has been good, robust conversation. Look, I feel like Brandon feels sad. Like, look, I feel like Brandon's like, we in a lose-lose situation. So we damned if we do and we damned if we don't. No. Bottom line is we must continue to have hope. Because the minute that you stop having hope, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Gotta have hope. You gotta believe that it can get better. That's what faith is. You gotta trust that God gonna make it better. One way or another, He gonna make it better.
Absolutely.
Like
right.
I keep saying, it won't be long now. It won't be long now. Just hold on just a little while longer. So, family, thank you again. I hope everybody enjoys this conversation. Please engage us with your with commentary, questions, points to think about. Excuse me, that we may have not covered. I promise that either myself or Brandon will respond back to you. We want to be able to continue this conversation even though we were not live, and like I said, hopefully spur thoughts and possibly action in other people. Who knows, somebody could listen to this conversation and decide they want to start a letter writing campaign to their legislature. Maybe somebody in Memphis would be like, what the world? We need to change some of these laws in these books. And from what I'm hearing, Memphis about to undergo a whole lot of changes.
Ooh, yes.
But hey, that's the way laws get changed, is that people are galvanized to take a stand. And at the end of the day, you have to believe that you have the power to make change. So if I believe I have a little bit of power, and Brandon believes he has a little bit of power, and Tree believes that she has a little bit of power, collectively we start putting all our little bits together, there becomes big power. And so let's keep that in the forefront of our mind. Never think that, hey, I'm just one person and I can't do anything. Everybody can do something. And if everybody does their part, the part that they know how to do, that they're good at, we can get a whole lot accomplished. I think we have seen that. Regardless of what things might look like right now, you've seen it done. So it's not that it can't be done. It can be done, and it can be done again and again and again. So we love you all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Please do that. Please do that.
Yes, get the look. I promise you, we're gonna get better with advertising. That's this is a lot. You gotta do certain things every certain number of days. Well, I got a full-time job. He got a full-time job, and he raising kids. I ain't raising kids. I just got a dog and a husband. But still, it's a lot. So we appreciate your patience with us, and bear with us in getting the word out about each episode. Tree, thank you again for. She was nervous, y'all. Could y'all tell she was nervous? She said she was nervous. She nervous. Look, she was nervous. Look, she went and she had some notes over here. She was like, let me get my stats together. But no, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Now, like I said, I appreciate your view, and I absolutely respect your view and understand where you're coming from. And everybody stay prayed up, stay safe, stay alert. And we will see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we will be hopefully discussing with a new author on a book that she wrote. I'm really excited about it. I think it's an interesting topic to engage the people with. So be on the lookout for the advertisement for that. I promise to advertise for that. So in the famous words of my boy Russell Simmons, thank y'all for coming out. I love that. Somebody else. Russell Simmons. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Good night.
Everybody stay prayed up, stay safe, stay alert. And we will see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we will be hopefully discussing with a new author on a book that she wrote. I'm really excited about it. I think it's an interesting topic to engage the people with. So be on the lookout for the advertisement for that. I promise to advertise for that. So in the famous words of my boy Russell Simmons, thank y'all for coming out. I love that. Somebody else. Russell Simmons. Thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Good night.
Unspoken Conversations. Your words have power. Our goal is to educate and inspire positive action that will motivate change and understanding. Thank you for joining us.